The Building Block School of Performing Arts is proud to bring you two excellent Vintage Radio Today performances this evening. Little Orphan Annie, Annie's Big Surprise Party from October 18, 1935, and Buck Rogers from April 5, 1939. Thanks for tuning in, and if you'd like to be a part of our live studio audience, please contact the Building Block School of Performing Arts. And now, tonight's show.
Now. Good times are coming now since you came on.
Here it is, 4:45 on Orphan Annie's birthday, and so far Annie hasn't the slightest suspicion of the big surprise party we're going to have on her tonight. But first, attention everybody please, because tonight's the night when you're going to hear all about the big surprise that's coming for you. Yes, sir, the most beautiful and thrilling surprise Annie's ever had for her radio friends. Something absolutely new and different from anything you've ever heard on the radio before. So get your pencil and paper quick so you don't miss a single word of the big news. I'll be telling you the very minute the adventure's over tonight. But now for Annie's big surprise party. You remember Joe is keeping Annie away from the farm so she won't catch on. And all of Annie's school friends have arrived for the party already.
Oh, goodness, I can't wait to see Annie.
You can hear the noise they're making in the silo kitchen, running around Mr. and Mrs. Silo. And listen, there's Potato Face talking now.
Hey, Squinty, look at my new scarf. I saw it in school today. It looks like a checkerboard.
I declare to goodness, not so much noise. Not so much noise.
If Annie's anywhere within a mile of the house, she can hear the lot of you, most likely.
When is she coming, Miss Silo?
Yes, Mrs. Silo. When will she be here?
Are all the children here?
Yes, ma'am. Everybody from school. The only kid who wouldn't come was Mike Gould.
He didn't come, eh?
Aw, he's just a sorehead.
Joe Corncast and I had to give him a good licking today so he wouldn't give the secret away to Annie.
I declare to goodness.
It served him right.
When's Annie coming, Mrs. Silo?
Well, Joe promised to have her here by 20 minutes to 4.
It's almost 20 minutes to 4 now.
And yeah, indeedy, I know it is.
Hey, Jimmy, take a look out at the window. See if you can see Joe and Annie coming.
Okay.
Are you children can all hide in the parlor, and when you hear Annie and Joe inside, you can come running out and holler, "Surprise!"
All right, Mrs. Silo. Hey, get ready, everybody. Here they come.
Sure enough. Get under cover there, everybody.
Oh, my goodness, I can't wait.
I declare to goodness, hide, all of you. Hide, hurry up, hurry up.
Yes, indeedy. Get hidden, you children.
Shh, hurry. Come on, be quiet.
Looks like we're all ready now, Ma.
Pa, that tablecloth, pull it straight. All the presents are hidden there. She'll see them when she comes in.
Sure, Ma, sure.
Quick, quick. We don't want her to suspect anything. Oh, my goodness. Whose hat is that over on the windowsill? Throw that in the bedroom, Pa. Annie's got sharp eyes. She'd notice it if there was anything wrong.
Oh, I'll get it, Ma.
There. Now, I think everything's all right.
Just in time, too, Ma. There's young'uns coming now.
Oh, sure enough.
Oh, gosh, Oni, I'm sorry I couldn't find it.
Oh, I'll bet there never was a beaver there.
Honest there was, Annie. Peter and Paul told me. They said they saw him starting to build his house. We just didn't look in the right place, that's all.
What's the matter there, you young'uns?
Oh, I was going to show Annie a place where beavers are building his house, and when we went over there, we couldn't find it.
Mrs. Silo.
What's the matter, Annie?
Weeping lizards. What's wrong? What's the matter with you?
Me? Why, there's nothing wrong with me.
What's that?
Surprise! Annie! Surprise!
Leaping lizards, golly, jumping grasshoppers.
Happy birthday!
Now, children, all together.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Annie. Happy birthday to you. It's your birthday.
Happy birthday, Annie. Leaping lizards, I don't know what to say. Hey, how about pounding her on the back? A smacking for every year.
Yeah, get her good.
No, you can't. I'll pound on me. You'll break my back. Nothing doing.
Reach under the table there, Pa, and get out a present.
Yeah.
Jumping grasshoppers. Are there presents too?
Of course there are. This is a regular party.
For Annie, yay!
That's right, Pa. Put 'em right up here on the table.
Suffering mackerel. Are those all for me?
Yeah, Annie, it's your birthday.
Golly, I never had a birthday party like this in all my life.
Well, for mercy's sake, Annie, start opening them up. See what's inside of them. I'm as anxious to see what there are myself. Oh, look, this one has a foreign-looking paper around it and funny postage stamps.
Oh, I know what those are. I save stamps. Those are Chinese stamps.
Ooh, I want to see.
Now, who could this be from? Oh, golly, look. It's from Moat Gee. There's his name up there in the corner.
Who's he?
Oh, he was a real nice Chinaman that Joe and I met over in China.
Ooh.
Now, how do you suppose he found out when my birthday was?
Well, what is it, Annie? Oh, my goodness, it's a beautiful silk kimono.
That's beautiful, Annie.
Yes, isn't it grand?
Gee, that was nice of Moat Gee. Hey, Joe, help me open some of these presents. It will take me all day to open them all by myself.
Sure, Annie. Look here. Here's one from Mr. Montague.
We'll open it up and see what it is.
Oh, gosh, Annie. Here's one I'll bet you'll want to open yourself.
What is it?
Here, it's just a little package.
Who's it from, Annie?
Yeah, who's it from, Annie?
It's from Daddy Warbucks.
I declare to goodness.
Look at the stamps on it. It's from some foreign place, too.
Let me see them, Annie. Oh, gosh, those are from Czechoslovakia.
Czechoslovakia? Where is that?
That's a country in the middle of Europe.
Open it up and see what it is, Annie. See what Mr. Warbucks gave you.
I am Mrs. Ilo. Oh, here's a box.
Ooh, it must be inside there.
No, there's more paper in here. Oh, golly, there's a little box inside all this paper. I can feel it.
Well, get it open, Annie. See what it is.
Here it is, Mrs. Ilo.
I declare a little box like that, why, it looks to me like jewelry. See what's in it, Annie.
Leaping lizards. Look, it's a ring.
Well, for mercy's sake, isn't that a beauty? Come here and look at it, Pa. Take it out and put it on.
It's got a beautiful big stone in it, too. See, that's a beautiful ring. How does that look? Just look at the way that stone shines and sparkles.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Oh, I wish I had one like that.
And here, look, Annie. Why, there's printing on the ring, right next to the stone here. I thought so. See what it says here? It's got October on one side of it and the word hope on the other side. Hope's the birthday sentiment for October.
Let me see, Pa.
And that rose-colored stone in there must be your birthstone, Annie. Sure, that's what it is. That's a rose zircon. And it's a beauty, too. That's the birthstone of October. I remember all of them.
Leaping lizard. That makes it my own personal birthday ring. Daddy's a peach to send me such a swell present.
He certainly is. And now, Let's see what else you got.
Hey, wasn't that a grand surprise for Annie? And did you ever hear of such a keen birthday present as the beautiful ring that she got from Daddy Warbucks? We'll see you Monday at 5:45. Until then, everybody, goodbye. Vintage Radio Today players will now take a short 2-minute break, and we'll be back in 2.
Annie.
Buck Rogers in the 25th century. Buck Rogers is back on the air. Buck and Wilma and all their fascinating friends and mysterious enemies in the super scientific 25th century. This program is brought to you by the makers of Popsicle, Fudgesicle, and Creamsicle. These delicious frozen confections on a stick. Now I have a swell surprise for you. The famous winner of the Typical American Boy contest has now become Popsicle Pete. And here's a message from Popsicle Pete.
Hello, everybody. I sure am glad to meet you. And boy, am I glad I was picked to be the typical American boy, because now I'm Popsicle Pete. I always wanted to be on the radio, and now I have a chance to tell you about some of the wonderful presents you can get. Free. Gee, you ought to see them. Hundreds of them. You get them just for saving bags from nifty popsicles, fudgicles, and creamsicles. Some gifts, even better than Christmas. You can get a wristwatch, a movie camera, table tennis, a wallet, a doll. Gee, lots of gifts. Just save the bags from popsicles, fudgicles, and creamsicles on a handy stick. Boy, do they taste good.
Wholesome, too, and nourishing, made fresh every day of the finest ingredients. The biggest 5 cents worth anywhere.
And say, kids, get the free illustrated popsicle gift list at your ice cream store. A free coupon comes with it worth 10 bags.
And now for Buck Rogers and his thrilling adventures 500 years in the future. As you probably know, Buck was born right here in our own times, in this 20th century. And the story of how he got started on his amazing adventures so far in the future is mighty interesting. But instead of telling you about it, let's turn the dial that will project us ahead in time and find out all about it that way. Now the capital of the 25th century America is Niagara, and there is a Dr. Hewer, the great scientist, has his marvelous laboratory. In one room of it, he's working on a strange-looking device that sounds a peculiar greenish light down onto a human figure lying on a table before him. Shall we join him there? Okay, then. Here we go. 500 years into the future.
The ray's putting you to sleep. To sleep. Relax and sleep. 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 Good. The rays had its effect. Now I can go ahead and... Yes, come in. Oh, hello, Wilma.
Hello, Dr. Hewer. My, why don't you have more light in here? Coming in from outside, I can hardly see a thing in this spooky greenish glow.
It's part of a little experiment I'm conducting.
Oh,
But tell me, have you seen anything of Black Barney here in Niagara?
why, no. Hasn't given up his job of Prime Minister of Mars, has he?
Oh, no. But one of his Martian rocket ship factories has worked out a new control device for me. I'd rather hoped he'd get here with it today.
Oh,
Meantime, I've made ready for final tests on this little invention here. Like to stay and see it?
I'd love to, Doctor, and you know it. But I just dropped in to find out if you've seen sign of,
What's the matter?
Doctor, what's happened to him?
Eh?
Is he all right, Doctor?
Oh, I see.
What's happened to him? Why is he lying here on this table?
Now, don't worry, Wilma.
Don't worry, Doctor. What are you...
He has offered to be the subject of my test. That's all.
But then, why is he...
He's simply lying there, comfortably asleep, under the influence of my electro-hypnotic ray.
Oh, I was afraid something had happened to him.
Not a thing. Surely you don't think for a minute that I'd do anything to harm him.
No, but not... But the electro-hypnotic ray... Are you sure this experiment won't hurt him in any way?
Oh, absolutely sure.
Well, you can't blame me for being a little shocked for a minute, but what's that thing up near his head that looks like a miniature power plant with a loudspeaker on top of it?
That, Wilma, is my latest scientific achievement, my newly perfected electro-hypno-mentalophone.
Your what?
Well, you remember the mentaloscope, don't you?
Why, sure. When you put a person under the metalloscope, all his memories showed up on a sort of moving picture screen.
That's right. And this is an adaptation of it. With this, the electro-hypno-mentalophone, the memories of the subject will come to us verbally through that loudspeaker here. Provided, of course, that my calculations have been correct.
Sort of read a person's mind aloud, you mean?
Yes. That's it exactly.
Where do you ever get ideas for things like this? Surely people don't just barge in and ask for you to work them out.
Hardly. The scientific research that led up to the development of this machine was started way back in the 20th century.
Why, I always thought that people back in the 20th century were not much better than savages. And what they knew about science things were
No, not at all, Wilma. You owe a great deal to the scientists of those days. Were it not for the great groundwork laid by men like Einstein, Fitzgerald, Compton, Millikan, and the rest, why, we'd be without a great many of the things that we have today.
They never really got anywhere with rocket ship development or anything like that, though, did they?
Well, successful rocket flight depends on two things that have been brought into existence only recently.
One of them must be inertron.
Yes, the inertron, the material that defies gravity and makes it possible to lift a big spaceship off Earth and away from its terrific gravitational pull without too much wasted power.
And what's the other?
Impervium, the only metal capable of withstanding the high temperature of a rocket blast for any length of time.
Oh.
But now, let's go ahead with this experiment.
Yes, let's. And you can tell me how this apparatus works as we go along and just what it does to him.
Well, not very much to tell you about the apparatus itself, Wilma, except that here, in this little pad under his head, is an extremely sensitive and high-frequency response piezoelectric oscillator of quite complicated design.
Yes, I guess so.
Yes, and I succeeded in tuning it to receive the minute electronic impulses that emanate from his brain
Yeah, okay.
through the medium of a super radiane protoniformer.
Yes, I see. A what?
In other words, we're able to obtain sufficient amplification of the impulse to the output audibly through a process of thermionic node magnification. And that's all there is to it.
I think I'll understand it better when I see this thing work.
And I shall be very much disappointed if it doesn't.
Don't you worry about that, Doctor. Your inventions always work.
I have been rather lucky through most of my experiments, haven't I?
Lucky?
Now, let's proceed with this one.
All right. Anything I can do to help?
No, thank you. But first of all, we have to switch on the electronoformer.
That electronoformer makes a sort of eerie sound.
Yes. And now, when I switch on this microphone and speak to him, my words will be registered directly on his brain. Not through his ears, you understand, but directly on his brain.
Uh-huh.
And if we're successful, we'll receive his subconscious response through the loudspeaker.
Go ahead, Doctor.
Now, young man, what is your name? I said, what is your name?
Buck Rogers.
Wilma, it works.
Oh, but Doctor...
My invention's a success.
Doctor, what's happened?
It works even better than I thought it would.
He didn't even move his lips, though. How could we hear him talk if he didn't move his lips?
It read his mind aloud, Wilma. It read his mind aloud.
It sounded like his real voice, though.
Well, of course, because he thinks of speech in the same manner that he utters it.
Great day. It doesn't seem possible. Ask him some more questions.
Yes, by all means. Listen. Buck, you were born back in the 20th century, were you not?
Yes, sir, but this is the 25th century.
You see, Wilma, his memory is preserved intact.
May I ask a question?
Surely. Go ahead. Go
Buck,
ahead.
Buck, how did you happen to come to the 25th century?
One day in the year 1919, I was in the lower workings of an abandoned mine near the city of Pittsburgh,
Yes?
when all of a sudden the supports that held me up in the walls and ceiling gave way and the whole thing caved in on me.
Yes?
Some kind of peculiar gas was released. It put me to sleep. It kept me in a state of suspended animation for 500 years. Then the ground shifted and left in fresh air, and I woke up.
Well, how did you know you were in suspended animation for 500 years?
Instead of the year 1919, it was the year 24 something. To be exact, it was 24...
How did you know what year it was?
I was told about it by Lieutenant Wilma Deering, a beautiful girl, soldier I met when I first came to.
Oh, then you know Wilma Deering.
Doctor.
I certainly do. She's the finest and bravest girl who ever lived. Why, Wilma's...
Buck Rogers?
Yes.
Did you find anything new and different when you first came into the 25th century?
Oh, a great deal, thanks to Dr. Huer,
Dr. Huer?
the greatest scientist who ever lived.
What's that?
Nowhere in the universe is there a scientist who's done so much good for humanity or done anything that could have even begun to.
Wait, now, wait a minute, Buck.
Yes.
All right, just forget Dr. Huer and go on with what you were saying.
But he's the man who invented the first rocket ship that took us to the moon, and it was that trip that proved the practicability of interplanetary flight.
Proved the practicability of interplanetary flight? What's wrong with this machine, Doctor?
Where else would you've gone by rocket ship, Buck?
Well, first to Mars, where we helped King Analod put down an invasion by the Martian Tigermen. Then to Saturn and the Saturnine moons, Venus, Jupiter, and even far-off Pluto.
Which planet did you find more interesting?
Well, that's hard to say. Jupiter was the biggest field for exploration simply because it's so much larger than the rest of the planets.
Very true. Do you expect to do any more rocketing around through outer space?
There's nothing else I'd rather do, sir.
Well, my. Do you like my little contraption?
It's wonderful, Doctor. I told you it would work.
Well, is there anything else you'd like to ask Buck? I mean, before turning this green ray off?
Let's wake him up and see if he remembers anything that happened during the experiment.
All right. Go ahead.
All right. Buck, wake up. Come on, Buck. Wake up. I say wake up. You've been asleep.
Asleep?
Uh-huh.
Where'd you come from? What are you doing here?
I've just been in on the test of Dr. Huber's
The electrohypnomentalophone.
Yes?
Oh, doggone it. Instead of helping you with your test, I fell asleep. Say, I'm awfully sorry, Doctor.
Sorry?
Well, yes, sir. I was going to help out.
I put you to sleep with this machine.
Oh, really?
Right.
I guess that's one on me, then. How'd it work?
Even better than expected.
Well, good.
Oh, it was marvelous, Buck. You told us your whole life history without even opening your mouth.
Hey, now, wait a minute.
It's all right, Buck. You didn't say a single thing that you shouldn't have.
Whew, thank goodness for that. Say, let's put Wilma under it.
Oh, no, you don't.
You have to do something for excitement right here. Come on, Wilma.
You're never satisfied unless there's something exciting going on, are you, Buck?
Well, it's not as bad as all that, Doctor, but things have been sort of slow around here lately.
Wait until we start making tests of the new gyrocosmic relativator I just devised.
A new one?
Isn't that the equipment on a rocket ship that makes it possible to take off without much less of time than the normal effects of weight and inertia?
That's right. And without the usual physical effects of too quick acceleration. It removes your ship from the normal effects of weight and inertia and momentum and the like.
Well, how have you improved the relevator, Doctor?
Buck, if this new instrument does what I hope it will, there'll be practically no limit to the speed of a rocket ship immediately after taking off.
Good night. Imagine getting into control cabin, opening the power lever, and going a couple of 1,000 miles an hour. Just like that.
That's exactly what we'll be able to do, Wilma.
But that hardly seems possible, does it? But when can we test it out, Doctor? Have you already got it installed in a rocket ship?
No, Buck, but as a matter of fact, I don't even have it yet.
Huh?
Well, it's been made up all right, the one that we used for the test, but it isn't here right yet.
I don't understand, Doctor.
Why, yes, sir. Can't we get it here? The sooner we can get it and start trying it out, the sooner we can break the monotony of just sitting around doing...
Wait, Buck. Listen.
Yes, Doctor, I hear it too.
Why, yes, but what under the sun is it?
Look here, out of the window.
Good heavens, Wilma!
It's coming right down this way.
Say, Buck's wish for an excitement certainly came true in a hurry. Great day, and I wonder what that was. And I certainly hope he and Wilma and Dr. Hewer are all right. What do you say, Pete?
Well, I know what would make me feel all right. A great big frozen fudgicle. Jiminy, can you imagine anything better than that fresh, creamy chocolate fudge frozen ice cold on a stick?
Fellas and girls, what's the best, purest nickel's worth you can get? Right, a fudgicle. Delicious and full of helpful energy. Made only from pure milk products. Swell to eat and easy to digest. And don't forget to save those bags for those wonderful free prizes. Exciting gifts like cameras and dolls, sweatshirts, gorgeous jewelry, and lots of other things.
And listen, kids, be sure to get your free popsicle gift list at your ice cream store. Don't take no for an answer.
The Building Block School of Performing Arts and Vintage Radio Today players would like to thank you all for tuning in to another evening of wholesome family entertainment. Tonight, Little Orphan Annie and Buck Rogers. Our cast for Little Orphan Annie includes Shay Norton as Potato Face, Millie Johnson as Squinty, Deanne Collins as Mrs. Silo, Tracy Allred as Mr. Silo, Sabrina Norton as Jimmy, Millie Johnson as Girl 1, Sabrina Norton as Girl 2, Libby Johnson as Annie, and Carl Johnson as Joe. But that's not all. For Buck Rogers, Sabrina Norton as Pete, Tracy Allred as Hewer, Deanne Collins as Wilma, Carl Johnson as Buck, Sherry Johnson as sound effects Foley artist, and I'm Dan James as your announcer. Join us again next month as we are planning a special presentation just in time for Halloween. Thank you and have a very pleasant evening.